2 and 1
What's
6
Zoom say?
more because
I don't have
if
to
you
hold the
had
way
2
I'm doing.
and 1 6,
Okay.
like
Got it.
6 times, all the 6 create 1. So
I'm going to pause you there for a second. You're now telling us how far apart those stations are. I'll get you an image. Okay, this is also what you say.
like 16 and 1/4 is right if they ran like this year, which is bigger than half the race.
Do you want to say anything about what you're trying to say here?
It's just
You said we just took different angles at it. What do you mean by that?
like we did different things.
We did different things. So far, you guys have a question about their work so far? What's a question you're wondering? Chloe, what are you wondering?
How did you guys get the 16 and the 14 and the 15 and the 6?
Is that anybody else's question? Yeah. That's my question too. Should we ask them about that?
Yeah.
They have a really cool strategy. Ready? I'm going to do that.
So
And this might help you to remember your strategy.
yeah, so half the race is like 13 miles. So if Mark ran 3 and 1/4 more.
But we said, remember we said, that's true. That's true. A real marathon would be 13
So if you did 13 and 1/4 more, it would be 16 and 1/4, and that's the same for the 15. If you add 2 more and a 6, it's 50. Or 50 was it 14?
See if your work will help you remember what you're trying to say.
It would be like yeah. So yeah, if you add 2 and 1/6 to 13, that's 14 and 1/6. So
Can we pause you? Do you guys know what these guys need, where this 2 and 1/6 came from?
Yeah.
Mary, what are you thinking?
Well, I think he divided 26 by 12, and then he did remainders into fraction.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any evidence on this poster that these guys divided and used remainders? Look really carefully what's there. Does it look like this is a dividing strategy?
Multiplication.
Now, I know. They did multiplication. So adding and multiplication. So Deacon, where's the adding? Why was that helpful? So let's look at that one. And will you turn and talk to your partner about why they added 2 and 1/6, 2 and 1/6, all of them, and how is that going to help them? What were they trying to figure out right there? Oh,
12 times.
why were they doing that?
They did that 12 times because they thought that 12.
So if they did that number 12 times, they would divide
Because they did 2 and 6 times 12.
Oh,
They did 2 and 1/6 times 12. And then
you guys are still talking about where that 2 and 1/6 came from? And study what they
they
had
did
here.
2 and 1/6 times 12. And then I just, I guess, plus 2 and 1/6, 2 and 1/6, 12 times to see if their answer was right.
Okay. So now I'm wondering what you guys are thinking about what's in pink in here. Deacon, what are you thinking? What's that mean? Anybody know? So we decided these guys did not do division. They did not do remainders. That's not their thing. What did they do? Sabrina.
They multiply 2 and 1/6 6 times
Okay. How do you know that?
because I counted 2 and 1/6 and there's 6 of them.
Well, when you do 2 and 1/6 6 times
You multiply 2 and 1/6 by 6.
by 6. So what did that make you guys think about, Tyler?
I saw that they did 3 1/4 4 times, but then they got 13, and then they added that twice, and they only got 26. So they just did 3 1/4 8 times because.
Yeah, you want to weigh in on that? That's what happened?
well, what we kind of really did was like, I thought, well, if each, I was starting with Rachel, and I thought if each flag was 12, we'd be at 24, so we would be short. And then I kind of just thought if 12 is divided by 2, that's 6, so I did 2 and 1/6.
Who feels like, you got a question about that, Mary?
How'd you write the division? We didn't write it.
No division here. Are you seeing division, Mary, and we're missing
Just
it?
in my
No? I'm gonna draw a picture of what you said just to help us think about it for a second. So when I came up with you guys initially, you guys were thinking about dividing up this whole race into 8 parts. Right? Wasn't that what you were working on?
kind of.
And you were thinking about how to do that. Is there a quick way I can think about how to divide this picture of the race into 8 parts? What could I do?
Divide it into half.
Okay. And then what? And then 4? And 8. So you're saying these are 8s? And those 8 parts?
Yes.
More or less? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So Quinn and David were saying something like, oh, what if these could be 2 apart? Would that work?
No.
Why not?
It's short.
Too short.
2 miles.
Yeah, so then what did you do next?
Then I tried 2 1/4.
So you tried 2 miles apart. That didn't work. Then you tried 2 1/4 miles apart. And?
And then I tried 2 1/6 and it worked.
And then you just tried it and it worked?
That was his.
That was his idea?
Yeah, that was his way of.
Tell everybody, turn your body so you can hear
Well,
me.
that was all Quinn's idea while I was doing multiplication and division. And we decided that is pretty complicated, but and it's kind of hard to understand.
But you know what's funny about it is we totally understood it. So you let your partner go off and do this guessing and checking, and luckily Quinn got lucky and he found a number that if you add it 8 times, it'll be 26.
And then he figured it out, and then that gave me an idea for how to stop the pause that I had to have next time.
Nice, I'm glad. Can we talk about, does this make a sense? If you made 2 1/6 8 times, you'd get to 26? Not true?
You have to do 2 1/6 12 times.
Oh, so what should I do to my picture?
Make it 12.
Make it 12. So this isn't a picture of 2 1/12, is it? How far apart are these?
12. You said we need 8.
That's Mark.
That's Mark, so it's 3 1/4.
These are 3 and 1/4. So now, okay, so these are each 3 and 1/4. And if I do that 8 times,
That'll make it.
that'll get 26. We try to talk to your partner to see if you believe that that's true. These are each 3 and 1/4 apart.
Yeah, because we know that. Yeah, 3 1/4.
Rachel was actually I thought it was harder just because the number was because the number was
Right.
and because they already there.
So Chase, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah, what?
it's true. I think it's true.
Can you convince us? Is there anything here that would help you convince?
It's true because
All of us in your group? Yeah. Okay, Chloe, you want to weigh in?
okay, I think that it's true because we know that 3 1/4, the 3 1/4 plus 1 1/4 they're down there was equal to 13.
So 3 1/4 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 will get you to 13.
13, that's halfway. You got halfway to go, so that'd be 26.
So that's half the race. Okay. So this is a cool strategy. It wasn't division actually, and they didn't use a remainder. Sounds like you just got some really smart guesses, and then you put it together with what David was thinking. Nice. Any questions about their strategy?
Any questions?
Any questions about their strategy? Did anybody down here use a strategy like this? Mary, you did a strategy? Anya, you did some guessing? Reminds you of this? No.
Just guessing.
So it's different then? Okay. Okay. Let's look at another piece of information. So you're making a claim about where Mark stands.
16.25.
So I'm going to let Anna and Deacon explain their work, and if you have a question, then hang on to it, okay? Do you guys want to stand up? Okay, great. So we're listening, and we're going to think about questions we could ask you.
So we figured out that half of 6.5, which is 1/4, was 3.25, which means we were just figuring out the eighths.
Can I pause you for a second? Questions so far?
What 6.15 is?
6.5 is 1/4 of what?
What?
6.5
No,
is
6.5 is 1/4 of the race thing. And then we figured out half of that, which is going to be eighths, which is 3.25. Then we added 3.25 to 13, which is the halfway point. And how far he ran was right after the halfway point, so we just added 3.25 to the halfway point, which is 13.
Okay, and you've got questions. Let's see. You've got questions. Who's back there? Matt, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask your question.
Why didn't you do it in fractions instead of decimals?
So you use decimals.
I just used decimals, but I just thought it was easier that way.
What's the difference between decimals and fractions? Like,
Well, there's like not actually that difference because you can convert decimals to fractions and vice versa. But yeah, I just use decimals instead.
so how did you get the point decimal?
Are you guys wondering about the 6.5?
Yeah.
Fuzzy? Me too. Okay. Deacon, you want to weigh in? Where did that 6.5 come from? 'Cause I don't think you started there. I was watching you work, and that's not where you started.
It's in my notebook.
We can either grab your notebook, or maybe we could try to figure out from your model. Because you're saying a fourth of the race is 6.5 miles?
And
Is
we
that what you're
figured-
saying?
And actually, oh no, I remember. So we figured out that 4 sixes is 24, and the thing is 26. So we added 0.5 plus 0.5, which is 1, and 0.5 plus 0.5, which is 1 also, and then we did the 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5, and that was 2, and then the 6.4, which was 24, plus the 2, and that's 26.
Did you guys follow what Anna just said?
No.
It was like crazy amazing, but it was hard to follow, wasn't it? Deacon, you want to try to say it a different way? Maybe we can write it as you say it?
0.5 plus 0.5 is 1.
0.5 plus 4.
So we did that twice, which is 2.
And why are you doing this? What does this mean?
So we can make them into a
What?
And then you did this again? But what is this them that you're talking about?
And then we
So if we
added-
get 2, because you can do 6 4 times.
Can you tell everybody?
You can only do 6 4 times into 26, which is 24. And
Well, hold up. Why were you dividing the race into 6 parts? Is that what you're saying? You took the race and you made it into 6 parts? 4 parts?
6.5 is 1/4.
Okay. Let's check that out. Okay, so you wanted to make 4 parts of the race? Can you guys see this? That was their goal. And why would making 4 parts of the race help them?
Because
Because
Four
you
going to
can
six.
divide fourths.
Was there something that happened at 1/4 of the race?
the water bottles, I think.
Were they water balloons?
No, that was the
And then the 12th was the
the first aid.
first aid kit.
Oh, those magical first aid kits. That didn't really happen. Okay, so maybe there's a first aid kit. So you were trying to think about how big a fourth was. And your strategy was,
We did 6 4 times, which was the closest it could get to 26.
okay. Who understands Mary? Can you say back what she just said?
You just said justice. You knew what I meant.
Were you listening?
Yeah, I was listening, but I don't know how to.
Tommy, did you hear what Anna just said? Elizabeth? Oh. So let's remind ourselves of what we gotta do. You gotta listen so carefully to these guys because there's some like serious deep math happening here.
Okay.
Alright, so like double down on the listening.
So we did 6 4 times,
6 4 times. I'm just gonna draw that.
and then we got 24.
Oh, so that's not enough, is it?
Yeah.
2 miles long.
So then there's 2 miles left. But if there's 4 sixes, I know that 4.5s would be equal to 2.
Can I scoot you out of the way for a second? Let's see if this helps us. You said if I do 6 4 times, not enough. We got 2 miles left over. A lot of people are getting it. What are you getting?
Because the zero, I get what the 0.5, and that's joined now.
Okay, you get what this is about?
Yeah, it's about the 2.
It's about 2. This 2 right here?
Yeah,
So how did they use this 0.5 stuff?
just to get 2.
Because 0.5 plus 0.5 is 1, and we did 0.5 plus 0.5 twice, so it's 2.
And that was 2.
How does that help you?
So that you add the 2 miles.
So that you can get the 2
Added, so if they add 6, there's 4 6s, then they would get to 26 instead of 24.
Okay. Who understood what Rahul just said?
No.
Say it again. Listen up. It's a big idea, so double down on the listening. Ready? Give on your attention. This is Rahul's idea, and it's going to be state. Go. You got it.
Kind of understood it because it was.
Oh, you totally had it.
Well, it was just. It was like a lot to.
You couldn't hear him?
No.
Is there anybody who could hear him?
I could hear it.
Rahul, turn your body, say it nice and loud. Your brilliant idea. Go for it.
They knew that 4.5s would equal 2, so they added 1.5 to each 6. So, because there's 4 6s, and if 4.5s equal 2, and 4 6s equal 24, 24 plus 2 would get them to 26.
Oh, I know it.
All right, now who can restate it?
Okay.
Chloe, you want to try it? Okay, Matt, you check and see if this is what
So they knew that 4.5 was 2. And so they added 0.5s to the 6s.
Like a 0.5 here, a 0.5 here?
Yeah.
They did that 4 times?
Yeah.
Okay, why would you do that? Why'd that help them? So now they're doing 6.5 as their jump?
That'll get you to
20, that'll get you to 26.
get you to
This is going to get you to
26.
26?
Yeah.
See, that's true.
Because that's one of the next 2. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to add the extra.
Yeah.
Since there's 4,
See, you don't have to make a jump of 2. 0.5s will take it.
yeah.
You don't have to make a jump of 2 if you just spread out the 2. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like pretend that all of these
Since there's
they added 0.5s. It just doesn't look like numbers.
4.5 equals 2.
4.5s or 4 halves equals 2. Is that true?
Yeah.
So you're saying if I jump 6.5 miles in 4 sections, I'll complete the race? 0.5 is like a half. Okay, now are we clear about what that 6.5
Yeah.
is? All right, keep going.
And then, because since the water station days were at each 1/8 of the race, since this is already a fourth, we need to split it in half to make 8s.
Stop right there. Hannah just said you took the 4th and you split it in half to find the 8.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Why?
Because 2 8s is like equivalent.
I know you know. I want to see if these guys know. I know you know. Matt, why does that make sense?
Because if you have fourths and you cut them in half, then they're eighths.
How do you know?
Because it doubles the fourths.
Doubles the fourths? Twice as many pieces?
Yeah.
Anna, you agree with that? Okay, so we're following you. So now you're going to cut these in half? Okay, keep going.
Okay, so we cut them in half and we got 3.25. Then we added 13, which was the halfway point, and the halfway point was 4 8s. And since she ran 5 8s, it was only 1 8 away, so you only need to add 1 3.25 to it. And we got 16.25, which is just 13 plus 13.
What questions do you have now? And then Deacon.
So what did that add up to be? The 3.25 plus the 3.25.
And then plus 13.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did we do with 3.25?
Yeah. Like, okay, so the 3.25 plus 3.25, what did she get? Like, what was the answer to?
6.5, because she divided 6.5 to 2.
Cut it in half.
So 2 to 3.25 should equal 6.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what Matt was saying about you took the 4th, you cut it in half. And
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy, what do
And
you
that's
think?
half of the
Where did you
6.5.
get the 0.5 from, though?
Which one? This guy right here?
6.5? No, not 6.5.
Oh, from
the
this?
0.5.
Oh, because you zero.
Tommy, point to which 0.5 you mean.
Oh,
That's okay.
You get like whatever you add.
this 0.5.
Oh.
Oh,
Where'd you get those?
well,
They used them to add the 2 on.
No, but where'd you get them?
Where'd they come from? Yeah, Tommy's like, you didn't just drop out of nowhere. You guys want to explain, or do you guys?
Okay, we knew that 0.5 was equivalent to 1/2, and so we only needed 2, and there was 4 sixes. So if we divide the half, 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 and half, that would be equivalent to 2, and that's all we need to complete the race.
That makes sense to you, Tommy?
Yes.
Are you sure? All right. So at the end of the day, you're telling us what about Mark? How many miles?
And Mark ran 16.25 miles.
16.25 miles. That's, you're saying that's more than last year?
Yeah.
Which was how many?
13 miles.
So how many more miles was that?
We had it on
We
here.
had it on
We just
the,
added it.
we added it this morning.
325.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's respected. So Tommy and Leah also used an underline, but did something a little different. So I want you to just hang on to the strategy we just looked at and see kind of what's the same and what's different. All right, we can go back and look at it in a second, but just remember what it looked like, and then you guys explain what your strategy was. Leah, you want to start? Where did you start? You got me a picture of the race. Tommy, you want to start?
I think it's in my notebooks.
Can you tell from what you wrote?
We had, we knew that we did Mark, and he stopped at every water station. So that's that. And on the map it said every water station was 1/8. So we did 1/8 through the whole map. I mean, not the number line, and we did use half of the map, and 26 is the end, and 3 1/4 is start, 6 1/2, and it keeps going. And this is where he stopped last year, and this is where he ended this year, and he did go farther. And we didn't finish it, but this morning we did.
I know, and I took it last night, so I don't have the complete picture. Sabrina, what are you wondering?
How did you get 3 1/4?
I don't either.
I was sitting with you at some point.
Yeah, I remember you wrote it down.
I feel like, I don't know, can you guys tell from their model?
Yeah.
Anybody want to?
Maybe it's an 8.
Okay, so wait. So David's saying he thinks he has an idea. Why don't we try it and see if it triggers your memory? It might not be what you did, but let's try it. Like earlier Mary said, oh, did you use division? And those guys said, nah, we didn't use division. Well, that was a good idea, you could have. So what were you thinking? What do you think they did?
They used
Okay, which was? Oh, you think they were guessing at a number? To try to make it to add to 26?
Yeah.
You were guessing at a number?
We tried to figure out how long each flag was to fill in the whole race. But we tried 2, and that was 2 miles short. Then we tried 2 1/2, and that was too big. And then we tried 1 and 1 1/2, and that was too short. And then we did 2 and...
So you just guessed a bunch, huh?
Yeah.
So I remember you guys doing something different at the end. And you see if this reminds you of what you talked about. I thought you made a picture of the whole race, and then you cut the picture in half. And you guys told me that was how many miles? Actually, your model says it. 13. And didn't you try cutting that in half? And did that work? Is it on your model?
Yeah, it worked. Yes, it worked.
Matt, you're seeing it on their model?
No.
Cutting 13 in half is not on their model? What are you thinking?
Yes, it is, because 1/4 is half of a half.
Okay.
And it says 6 1/2, and that's half of it.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, same thing. 6 1/2 is half of 13, and 1/4 is half.
And what if you take the 4th and you cut that in half?
It's 1/8.
And Matt's our expert on that. What's that called? Take a 4th and you cut it in half.
1/8.
eighths. Did you guys figure out how to do that? Yeah. How many miles is that? According to your model, 3 1/4. Does this look similar or different than the one we just saw?
Similar.
In what ways? Turn and talk to your partner about what's similar, what's different.
Similar because it's different. And they cut it in half. And,
And it has like
explanations and they didn't use division.
You guys ready for next?
And then the same because they did.
So you got room on that chair? Really? Okay. Now you're All right, come on back, y'all. We're in the home stretch. I know it's... What's similar between this and Deacon's and that? Tommy Elias. I'll do it again. What's similar between this one and that one? Anna, what's one thing that's similar?
One thing that's similar is that we both used an oven.
Totally. Another thing?
well, we kind of both agreed on that 1/4 is 6.5.
We sure did. You agree about 1/4. What else, Quinn, are you going to say?
They both kind of got the right answer.
We both kind of got the right answer. We haven't even talked about the right answer, have we?
I mean, I think they got
We think they got the right answer. What else, Ronald?
They both cut the thing in half to get their answer about how much more.
Okay. Elizabeth, what did Rahul just say? Tanya, what did Rahul just say?
He was saying that it was like I was kind of confused.
Okay. So I'm going to ask us to just really focus on listening. That was a really big idea. We missed it. So Rahul, you can turn your body. That will make us hear you a little more.
They
We should have heard
both
you.
cut like half their number to get the answer of how much more they ran.
They both cut half their numbers.
Half, and Deacon got 6.5, which is 1/4 of 26. And Tommy and Leah had the same 6.5. They cut that in half. So Anna and Deacon used a decimal, which is 3.25.
Okay.
And Tommy and Aaliyah use a fraction, which is 3 1/4, which are the same numbers.
So you actually moved into differences, right? So what's one difference between these two strategies? What are you noticing, Jayla?
They had more, Anna and Deacon had more numbers and a lot of
A lot of more numbers and words on their model, huh? Elizabeth, what are you noticing?
Anna and Deacon, they use
Good noticing. These guys use decimals to talk about the miles. These guys use fractions. Okay, let's compare two more. Watch this. So Rahul and Maxim made this really interesting chart to keep track of marks. And they're keeping track of the parts of the miles and the miles. And then I put Tommy and Elias down here. You take a minute with your partner and see if you can make sense of their chart. What's going on in their chart and how did they use it? How did they organize it? Talk to your partner and see if you can make sense of it. I'll
Okay, so 4/8. So 1/8 is 3.25. I noticed I think it goes like this.
Leah, who's your partner? So who are you talking to right now? Were you talking to these guys? I just couldn't tell.
So they multiplied it by 2.
They both multiplied.
And then so what they multiplied. Oh, okay. So what they multiplied. So whatever they multiplied, they did it to the other side.
All right. Maxim explain their chart. Let's see if we can explain their chart. How many raise your hand if you feel like you could explain it? It kind of makes sense to you. So how are you going to start?
So they did a fraction on one side, and that's like the parts of the race, and then on the other side, it's the
is how many miles
Okay.
each one. Like 1/8 is 3.25 miles.
Yeah.
And so then we show like what's 2/8 and 4/8 and 5.
Okay. Elizabeth, say more.
I kind of noticed that it's kind of both number lines and something because times 2
See that again. You're noticing that there's a times 2 here, and there's a times 2 here as well?
not they don't label it, but you can see that they kind of move up,
Oh, so that's interesting. Elizabeth, you're saying that these guys are moving down the chart, and these guys are moving across the number line? Is that what you're saying? And that makes sense to you? Okay. Sheila, what are you thinking?
I saw like rapid maximum, but they did to one side of their chart.
Yeah.
They did to the other side.
Oh, say that nice and loud one more time.
But they did to one side of the chart, they also did to the other side of the chart.
Why does that make sense? Why, if they're doing some math on the left side of the chart, why would they do that on the right side of the chart too? Deacon, can you explain that? Say what you mean by that. The two cousins? So, Jay, let's say your idea again. So I want to focus on this idea. You might be related.
What they did to one side of the chart, they also did to the other side.
Go ahead and point to what you're talking about.
Like right here, they did times 2 times 3 times 5. They also did times 2 times 5 on the other side.
Why are they doing that? Why are they doing some times 2 on the left side and times 2 on the right side? Mary?
well, the fractions are the same as they put them into miles,
Okay.
and so they would multiply it, and it would be the same. It would be equal to when they just turned it in miles.
Okay. Now it makes sense. Let's go back to Deacon. What happened?
They just converted the fraction into a decimal.
That makes it. You're saying 1/8 in a decimal is 3.25? Hold on. You're saying 2/8 is the same as 1/4, which is 6.5. What are you thinking, Quinn?
Well, if they have to do one side the same as the other because if they did 1/8 times 2, they get to 2/8, and all of a sudden they started doing 3.25 times 5 for no reason, it wouldn't be the same because they have to do the same thing.
There's something here, Chase, about doing the same thing to both sides. Quinn says you can't multiply by 2 over here and by 5 over there. Is that true? You can't do that? Why did they multiply by 5 right here? You're going to talk to your partner about why did they do multiply by 2, and then they go for a 5?
Number line, you would still have 5 slides.
He used the same thing on the other
He used
side.
5 because Mark's answers 5 days.
Yeah, and they can't
Okay.
just jump forward.
Come back. So that's and you know what Maxim just said to me? He said, I know why we multiply by 5. So just keep it a secret between you and Rahul for a second, because I think Chase also knows. You want to explain what you said to your group? Why are they multiplying by 5?
Because Mark's answer is 5/8.
What do you mean his answer is 5/8?
Well, he had 4/8 last year, but then this year he increased by 1/8, so he had 5/8.
So this would be a good place to end this table at 5/8.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So you know how this has a left side and a right side? Does the number line have a left side and a right side?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one
Half over here and half over here.
half over here, like it's half and
And the 13 line, you got it. That
Let
was
me
on
ask you,
here.
just study this for one more minute. Do these numbers, these 8s that Rahul and Maxim are using, do they show up on this number line? And if so, where? And do these miles show up? And where did they show up? Talk to your partner for the past 30 seconds.
it's right there on the number.
1/8 right there. And 2/8 would be. 2/8 is just 2/8 is the same as 1/4.
4/8 is the same as 6.5, and 5/8 is the same as 16 1/4.
Right. I know you just said you guys were talking. So 1/8 is the same as 1/8 is right there. 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4, and 4/8 is a half. That's 13. And 5/8 is equivalent to 16 1/4.
Yeah.
And then 3.25 miles, the fractions would have the miles on them or whatever.
You could have had it, right? Could have happened. All right. Who would like to tell us something super smart that their partner said just now?
He doesn't know.
I'm going to call him Maxim because you're going to tell us what Rahul said? Yeah. All right, go for it, Maxim. What'd you say again? No. I'm going to come back to you. Chloe, who's your partner?
Chase and Matt.
Chase and Matt, what'd they say that was smart?
Okay, so they said that if you look on the
Hold
number
up. Quinn,
line,
you listening? Do you think you're listening?
Yeah.
if
We're
you look,
literally like, this is our last conversation. It's going to be like 30 seconds. Go.
if you look on the number line, then it might not be the numbers, but it's the equivalent fraction to the parts of the race.
Whoa,
So
whoa. There's the equivalent fractions
yes,
to the parts of the race.
Yes.
Can you guys point some out to us? Chase, you can jump up. Matt, you can jump up. You see some?
so 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. 4/8 is equivalent to a half, and 5/8 is equivalent to 16 1/4.
Wow. Can you step back just so we can see you? Do that one more time.
1/8
1/8 is on there, and then 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8, and 4/8 is equivalent to half, and then 5/8 is equivalent to 16
Chase, I got something for you. Here's my question for you. On Rahul and Maxim's chart, they have this number 6.5. There's no 6.5 on Tommy and Aaliyah's. Is there an equivalent there? You see a 6.5 anywhere hanging out?
Well, I do.
Let's give you a minute to think. Is there a 6.5? It refers to the miles, right?
Yeah. 6.5 is
6.5.
Those are the same?
Yeah.
So what about their claim of 3.25? Is that also on Tommy and Aaliyah's?
where?
3.25 miles.
Oh, yeah. Because that's a fourth.
That's a fourth?
0.25 is
So what's another way to talk about 3.25 miles?
Maybe it's
3 and 1/4. Those are the same? Those are equivalent? Ooh, okay.
13 is a half.
13 is a half.
And then 16.25
is 16 and 4.
So it sounds like, Rahul and Maxim, you have a way of thinking about without a number line that's like a cool chart. Tyler, did I lose you to the computer?
I can't see.
You can't see this?
Yeah, because Chase.
Oh, because we're in the way. Sorry, I got it. So you're actually focused on the picture.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. I'm going to have you guys sit down. Will you say to your partner one thing that you learned or that got clear in this conversation? One thing that you're a little more clear about after we talked about it.
There's a lot of things that are equivalent.
Right.
Everything on there is equivalent.
Yeah.
Why are you playing with my bed?